elders in our church. We have some great people in leadership over different teams, over different groups. Our deacons are, well, in fact, let's see how many do we have. How many deacons? If you're a deacon, go ahead and stand up real quick. We want to thank you for being one of our leaders in the church. Thank you, God. For the past year, I think we've had 23 deacons, and they serve for 1 year at a time. They get renewed every year. Some choose not to be renewed. Some are not able to do that. But we are looking to, in fact, we're a little bit behind in getting them renewed this year. I think it's been a little bit longer than a year. We're stretching that out, but the elders are working through that process, and we're, in fact, hoping to bring on even more deacons this year so that we'll have over 30 for the year ahead. We also, as I mentioned, have elders. We have 4 elders here besides myself. They serve up to 6 years. We have Dean Folletti and Keith Whitehouse. Keith is our longest serving elder. Greg Bobrick and Ken Tomalak. Unfortunately, Greg can't be here tonight due to a previous commitment that he had. And Ken has not been feeling well lately, so we have Dean and Keith with us tonight representing all the elders. These men are not just elders at the location where they're based. Being 2 congregations but 1 church, we're 2 locations, but we share the same leaders. We have the same elders. We have the same ministers. And so these men will rotate. They will visit both campuses to make sure that they are personally shepherding people and praying with people and being known by people, counseling and whatever else is needed, protecting the church. Mark and I do the same thing as ministers, as preachers. We rotate to both campuses. We have a wonderful staff. And in fact, we have anybody on our staff right now. A few are full-time, most are part-time, but staff and any family members with you tonight, we want to have you stand up very quickly and thank you for your service as well. Go ahead, staff. Stand up. Thank you very much. Appreciate you and your families very much. Staff typically lead ministry teams and departments, and in some ways they are similar to deacons. Some serve in support and administrative functions, others serve as directors, and some we call ministers. But that's not a fancy title of power. It means the same thing as deacon. It means the same thing as a servant. That's all it is. It's just somebody who serves. But they have a special role of leadership in that service. So we've come to recognize that those who see their ministry as a calling from God and they want to devote themselves to full-time service, meaning this is their primary thing, this is what they want to do for the rest of their lives, we set those aside through what we call ordination, to recognize their character and their experience and or their education. These are the kind that we're ordaining into ministry tonight. These are staff directors who serve in our Next Gen department. JoEllen Hurst and John Langley both have been terrific in leading our kids and youth ministries here for quite a while. I've been able to spend some time over the past year with both of them, preparing them doctrinally, vocationally, but they've spent a lot of time with others, and they both came up under Mark's leadership in the Next Gen ministry. So it's really cool to see a couple of our own homegrown staff going into ministry like this, and I pray that more would aspire to go into ministry, that God would raise up a whole lot more leaders just like these 2. And you may not know that JoEllen actually and her family only live about 4 houses down from me, and then about 2 football fields away from Mark and his family. So she's right in the middle between you. So you didn't really stand a chance, I suppose, in all of this. But I've been impressed with Joanne and John's knowledge and their growth, and have impressed upon them the importance of training young people in sound doctrine. We always want kids to come to church and enjoy themselves and have a good time, but it's so much more vital that they are taught good, sound, biblical doctrine. My own youth minister was very instrumental in me choosing to go into the ministry, and he was involved in my ordination way back in 1986. And on the night I was ordained, he gave me 3 charges. He said, know the truth, preach the truth, and live the truth. It's all about the truth of Scripture. And he concluded by saying, Brett, may your life's work honor and glorify Jesus Christ, so at the end you may hear him say, well done, good and faithful servant. And I would say the same thing to JoEllen and John tonight as well. Now, to be ordained does not mean that you are being charged to be a preacher or an elder. John and JoEllen both teach our youth, counsel our youth, which is incredibly important and influential. But this is not about authority, and I'm going to point out the Scripture says that women do not have that role of elder or preacher in the church over men. So ordaining them has nothing to do with affirming a role or specific responsibility. This is about affirming their spiritual giftedness, their abilities, and their experience. We are publicly recognizing that this is God's call upon their life for vocational ministry and leadership. And what we're doing is extending our endorsement of them as ministers too far beyond our congregation. So tonight, we're going to hear from both of them a little bit later on. We're going to set them apart by the elders. We are also going to hear a challenge from Mark a little bit later on, but you're also going to hear some highlights of different ministries in the church, and we'll start with this video. So,
Hi, I'm Cindy Essig.
And I'm Cindy Ballrock.
What's up,